What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here, and today we're talking about slow motion, and more importantly, how to fake it. Alright guys, so as you all know, I am a huge, avid lover, supporter, I love slow motion. I love good slow motion. Slow motion makes everything look so amazing. Now, there's definitely times where it can be overused. There's times when it can be underused, but it's just something that everybody seems to have a really keen interest in. Okay, to start, we gotta break down frame rates and how slow motion actually works, because it confuses a lot of people, and it confused me when I was first starting. You hear things like high-speed camera and a high-speed frame rate, and you gotta drop that down so that it slows down. But you're like, what, it's high speed? Doesn't that mean it's fast? How does high speed mean slow? It's confusing at the start, but it's actually very, very simple if you think about it. So a camera captures individual frames, and when they're all laid into a sequence, those frames turn into motion. So when you're capturing 24 frames a second, that's what most cinematographers and vloggers and everybody choose to shoot at, because it's the most natural looking frame rate for motion blur and cinematic style of filming. But when we talk about high speed frame rates, using the camera that I use as an example, it shoots at 120 frames per second. So if I want to do slow motion, I'm going to change my frame rate from what I would typically shoot a vlog or this video like right now at, which is 24 frames a second. I'm gonna change that to get slow-mo to 120 frames a second. So what that means is my camera is capturing these same frames at a much faster rate than we're gonna be playing them back. So if you have a camera that can shoot at a higher speed frame rate, like 120 frames a second or 60 frames a second, that's in a sense slow motion. You can then play those back at normal speed, and time will appear to be moving more slowly. You're gonna get a slower slow motion with 120 frames, 240 frames a second. You see those crazy fast high speed cameras that big productions use, like 1,000 frames a second, and people are just... Think about how many frames a second that camera is capturing. Crazy. Not all of us have access to these slow motion cameras. Not everybody can just jump into 120 frames a second like that and boom, there you go, get it done. Now your iPhone does it, but it's not gonna do it at the same quality that a DSLR would do it, with a really nice piece of glass on it or a really nice expensive sensor. So how do we get this slow motion if we don't have a camera that can actually record high speed frame rates? That's when we're gonna use software to step in. So Adobe Premiere came out with a tool several years ago called Optical Flow. So what is Optical Flow? And aside sounding like a funk band from the 90s, Optical Flow is time remapping within Adobe Premiere Pro. So Optical Flow actually generates new frames based off of the frame before it and after it. So to best help you understand this, I've recorded a couple sequences just doing very basic things like dropping a Rubik's Cube from one hand to the other, springing some cards, waving my hand in front of the camera, very basic things. If we drop a clip onto the timeline, now this clip was shot at 24 frames a second, it's not slow motion at all. As we play it back, we can see what's happening here. Now, if we open up the time settings and let's say we slow this clip down manually by 50%, now we've dragged that clip out even further, so technically we should play it back and it'll be slow motion. Now this isn't true slow motion because, as you guys know, like we just talked about, it wasn't recorded at a higher frame rate. So we've just kind of faked this slow-mo within Premiere. And you can tell it looks kind of choppy. It doesn't look very smooth. If we play that same clip that we shot in actual high speed with 120 frames a second, look at the difference. You can see how much smoother that looks because every single frame there is accounted for. If we go back to that 24 frames a second clip that we just stretched out to 50% slower and we faked it, check this out. If we go frame by frame, every other frame is a solid still. It's not moving. Then the next frame, something moves. The next frame, it's solid. The next frame, something moves. That's why you get that weird, jittery, just kind of awkward looking slow motion. So what Optical Flow does is it takes the frame before it, skips that still frame, takes the frame after it, and it figures out a new frame to stick in between. So essentially we're like hacking slow motion. So here's the thing, if I was standing in the middle of a city and lots of stuff was going on, and I took that Rubik's Cube and dropped it from one hand to another, just as an example, and we wanted to slow that down, the thing is, Premiere doesn't know that the Rubik's Cube is the focus of this clip. So it's gonna take that whole scene of people walking around the city and cars driving by and the clouds moving and everything that's happening in that frame, and it's going to optical flow the entire frame. So it's just gonna look crazy when you're done because things are moving, it's a busy background, there's no stark contrast. The software is having a hard time distinguishing a background from a foreground, so it's just doing everything it can, and it just ends up being a crazy mess of just disgustingness. Just try it, you'll see. You'll be like, whoa, whoa. To get the best results from this, you want to shoot stuff ahead of time, like we've talked about. If you know that you're going to try and fake this slow motion, that's going to give you the best results. So that's why I chose to shoot these example shots just in front of a really clean wall. Okay, so how do you actually use optical flow? Almost dropped my laptop. I will show you guys. Check this out. Okay, so once you have Premiere open, grab the clips that you want to make into slow motion, drop them into your timeline. I'll import these here. Give me 2 seconds. Let's preview this one. What do we got? We have, oh, so exciting. Me dropping a Rubik's Cube from one hand to the other. Look at that. Just such riveting cinematography right there. Let's make an in and an out point, and we will drag that onto the timeline. So go ahead and hit Command R on your keyboard. Whoop, that's gonna bring up your clip speed duration. And this is what I mean by usually people fake their slow motion this way by just saying like, oh, I want this clip to be 50% of that speed. Okay, and see how it drags that clip out. Now when we play this clip back, ooh, see how it's just, it's a little choppy there. So you're gonna right click on this, come down to time interpolation and select optical flow. It's gonna go red. You're gonna wanna zoom out there, highlight that, which it already was, hit Command R, and that is going to render out that clip. So now when we play it back, it's a little more smooth in motion, but as I mentioned before, the Rubik's Cube is a busy pattern. So that's what I mean, like right there, that's a perfect example of like the weird artifacting side effect that happens when you use optical flow. So when you plan for that edit and you shoot things and you know what you want in slow motion, getting the right objects, getting the right background, all of those things are gonna help give you the best results. Let's see something else. iPhone case, bring up that time remap. We'll make this 50% longer. So that is normal speed, and that is our fake slow motion, which you can see every other frame is completely still, and we want to generate the frames in between. Whoop! Time interpolation, interpolation, whatever you desire. The world is your oyster. Let's go ahead and render that, Command R, and let's play it back. See how that looks a lot better when it comes to artifacting. Let's go back frame by frame. Frame by frame, you can see now it pretty much, there's some little weird finger movement there, but completely just about undetectable when you watch it back at normal speed. But you can see how much better that looks frame by frame, and you'll see the computer's actually generating new frames for that. And unfortunately, that artifacting is just one of the side effects when you're taking not slow motion footage, making it slow motion, and then running optical flow on it. So this isn't an ideal technique if like you're really depending on something that's slow motion. My recommendation is you shoot that in high speed and you're not gonna have any of these issues. Okay, here's a regular motion clip of some playing cards being dribbled. Let's go ahead and bring up those time remapping options, the clip speed duration, change that to 50%. Let's watch that back now. Now that you know those frames, every other frame is a static frame, you can tell it looks choppy. You can't unsee it, I'm sorry. So let's check out what happens when we right click, go over to time interpolation, interpol, I'm just gonna stop saying it. Optical flow, let's render that out. Not too bad. That actually looks really good. And I will be honest, sometimes you just get lucky. Sometimes you do something and you're like, oh, hell yes. Oh, high five to me. So this is one of those instances that looks great. We don't have a high speed camera. We just fake the slow motion, and there you go. So that's essentially it. I get asked this question a lot in the comments. I get asked in real life, in person, in Instagram, tweets, all that kind of thing, is how do you get good slow motion if I don't have a camera that can do high speed frame rates? And this is an option available to you. Now there are also plugins. There's one called Twixtor that essentially does the same thing. It's essentially the same thing as optical flow, just a much better version of it. But a lot of cameras these days are doing higher frame rates, and iPhones and stuff like that. This is a great option if you don't have a high frame rate and you are looking to achieve slow motion with the camera that you currently own. With that being said, hit that like button if you like this video, smash it if you so desire. I've mentioned it before, not gonna hold it against you. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll be here. I might not be here, but I'll be here, like on the channel and stuff like that. It's good. It's gonna be good. It's just gonna stop talking and turn the camera off now. See ya. You're extending them even further. So you're actually, that's awesome. Sorry about that.